A cold CEO found a girl feeding her baby under the rain, unaware she'd lost everything but hope. The rain came down in cold, merciless sheets, turning the city's glow into a blur of silver and sadness. Most people rushed under shelters, umbrellas tilted, faces hidden. But he didn't rush. Ethan Knight never rushed. Even in the rain, even when thunder rolled, his steps remained calm and precise, the mark of a man who owned everything except warmth in his heart. Ethan, the youngest CEO of Knight Enterprises, was known across the city as the Ice King. His empire stretched from luxury hotels to tech startups, yet he spoke little, smiled less, and trusted no one. Success had cost him everything: love, family, and the ability to feel. That night, he had just left a tense meeting that ended in betrayal. His closest associate tried to sell the company's secret designs. Rage simmered beneath his suit as he strode through the rain toward his waiting car. But then, something caught his eye, something fragile, out of place in his polished, ruthless world. There, under a flickering streetlight, a young woman sat on the wet pavement, her back pressed against a closed bakery door. Her hair was soaked, sticking to her pale cheeks. Her clothes clung to her shivering body. In her arms, a baby, no more than 6 months old, whimpered softly. She held a piece of bread, half soaked, and tried to feed her child with trembling hands. For a brief moment, Ethan froze. The world blurred away. The rain, the cars, the noise, all he saw was her eyes. Eyes that carried both fear and fierce determination. He frowned. "You'll get sick sitting here," he said flatly. The woman looked up, startled. I'm fine," she whispered, clutching the baby closer. "Please, just go. I don't want trouble." Something about her tone, the quiet dignity even in her helplessness, stirred something long buried in him. Still, he turned away, shaking his head. He had no time for street drama. But as he reached his car door, a faint cry pierced the rain, the baby's cry. A weak, hungry, desperate sound. He hesitated. Then, against every instinct, he turned back. "Get in," he said coldly, opening the backseat door. "You'll freeze to death here." She looked at him, uncertain, her lips trembling. "I can't. I don't even know you." "Then take it as charity," he snapped, irritation covering confusion. "I don't have time to argue." After a long pause, she nodded and stepped inside. The baby whimpered again as the warmth of the car wrapped around them. Ethan's driver glanced at him in the mirror, but one look silenced him. The drive was quiet except for the soft coos of the baby. The woman's clothes dripped water onto the leather seat, but she didn't care. She kept whispering to the baby, soothing, loving, unbroken even in misery. Ethan found himself stealing glances at her reflection. She looked young, barely 24, yet her eyes carried stories far older. When they arrived at his private penthouse, she hesitated at the entrance. "I shouldn't be here," she said. "Then where should you be?" he asked sharply. "In the rain with a starving child." Her lips trembled. We lost our home. My husband died 2 months ago in an accident. The insurance refused to pay. I couldn't afford rent anymore. I've been looking for work, but no one wants to hire a mother with a baby." Ethan felt something twist inside him. A memory of his own mother, crying after his father's death, flashed before him. He had buried that memory deep, locked it behind walls of success and ice. "Stay here tonight," he said finally, walking away before she could refuse. The next morning, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a clean sky. Ethan came downstairs to find her in the kitchen, wearing one of his shirts that hung loosely around her small frame. She was gently rocking the baby, while trying to make breakfast. "You don't have to do that," he said. She smiled faintly. "I can't just sit and do nothing after what you did for us." "It's the least I can do." He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel cold. Her name was Lila, her baby's name, Noah. As days turned into weeks, Ethan found himself waiting for their laughter. Lila filled his silent house with warmth, singing lullabies, smiling even when life had broken her. She began helping his housekeeper, cleaning, cooking, even typing reports when she learned about his work. One evening, as Ethan returned from work, he found her on the balcony, holding Noah up to the sunset. The golden light wrapped around them like a promise. "He loves the sky," she said softly. "Maybe because it feels endless, like hope." Something in that word, hope, shattered the last piece of ice in him. But happiness, fragile as it was, wasn't meant to last easily. A week later, The press found out. Photos of the Ice King and the homeless woman splashed across headlines. His board demanded answers. Investors threatened to pull out, fearing scandal. "You'll lose everything you built," his assistant warned. But Ethan didn't care. For the first time, he realized what everything truly meant. That night, he found Lila packing her things. "I can't ruin your life," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You gave us shelter when no one else would. That's enough." He stepped forward, voice breaking. "Lila, you gave me back something I lost years ago, humanity. Don't take it away." She shook her head. "You don't owe us anything." He took her hands, trembling slightly. "It's not about debt, it's about belonging. Stay. Let's start again, together." Months later, the city watched as the once cold CEO launched a new foundation, Hope Haven, providing shelter and jobs for struggling single mothers. Standing beside him at the opening ceremony was Lila, holding Noah, her eyes shining with pride and tears. When reporters asked what inspired the change, Ethan simply said, "Because one night, under the rain, I met someone who had nothing, yet taught me what it meant to have everything." The crowd fell silent, cameras flashed, but Ethan only looked at Lila, the woman who turned his storm into spring. And in that moment, under the same sky that once poured cold rain upon them, their story became one of redemption, love, and the unbreakable power of hope.